being a minority amongst minority, growing up in East LA, and having a lot of Latino friends and just little kids. I mean, because you look different, you're going to be treated different. But as we grew up, we got to know each other, respected each other, and really appreciate each other's differences. And some of my best friends are Mexican, and we still keep in contact. And even though they moved thousands of miles away to different states and stuff, we're always calling each other up and stuff. And hey, what's going on? And just talking about different things and just laughing at how stupid we were back in the day. You know, it's just kids will be kids.
Welcome to the My SGV podcast. Our mission is to capture and share the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley. We believe our diversity is what makes the SGV great. And no matter where you're from in the San Gabriel Valley, you will feel welcome.
All right, SGVers, welcome back to another episode of the My SGV podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for spending this time with us. If you're new here, we bring you the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley. And if you're a returning listener, thank you. And sit back, relax, and we're going to bring you another story. Well, Scott, food, we just ate lunch at Samu, and we were mentioned to our guests, and like, which one is that? The newest Samu, right? That was on Valley.
On Valley, but people think Valley and Sixth.
Yes.
Yeah, but this is Valley and
Walnut Grove.
The
lettering was different. Like everything about the whole aesthetic was different.
It was, yeah. It looked a little bit different.
And there's this very distinct divide from when you walk in if you want like takeout to go barbecue or you're going to sit down. That's always been my experience with Samu. And here was kind of, they sort of had that, but you didn't see the meat, you know, hanging in the display case.
You had to be on the other side of the building.
Yeah. So it was a different experience.
No, go ahead.
My memories and experience with Samu was my father would come to pick me up and he would ask if I wanted Chinese food. And Chinese food at that age, maybe it was like 7 or 8, always meant the same thing. It was always going to Samu. And it was served on these like plastic, like pink and green and yellow decorated plates. And he would always order the same thing. He would always order a whole roast duck, white rice, and like gailan with oyster sauce. And that was, every meal was that. And we would just eat the whole duck together. And like that was always my memory of what Chinese food meant.
Wow. And that's so different than my memory.
What's your memory of Chinese? Oh, Chinese food or of Samu?
Of Chinese food.
Oh, what?
Growing up in Seattle in the 60s, right? Chinese food, my father would love it, but it was noodles with a boiled egg in it, and that was about it, and barbecued pork.
Oh, what was it called?
It was just noodles and barbecued pork.
Really?
Yes. And that was like that was Chinese food to me. So, and it always had a boiled egg cut in half at the top. Yeah. Wow. So it was not, real Chinese food experience,
Sure. Well, there's so many changing, Chinese food restaurants here, all sorts of Chinese cuisine. That's obviously like Cantonese barbecue cuisine. And actually, I could probably still go to that Samu. I could probably still get that exact same meal served in the round, red container for the rice, and probably served on those similar plates. But that was the experience of Chinese food. Like, if we were to celebrate as a family, it was to go get duck, and then maybe we get a few more dishes on like a lazy Susan table. But that was the Chinese food experience for me here in the San Gabriel Valley.
Yeah, well, that's changed.
For sure. Yeah, changed it a lot. Well, before we get into our guest, I just want to thank Paris Baguette for our treats, the pastries, the goodies that they provide. Actually, this time I always say that we always have to resist, but while you're away, Scott, Tori ate a pastry by herself.
Oh, congratulations. What did you have?
A raspberry. I'm joking. We both had one. I had one too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds good.
It was good. It was delicious. So if you're in San Gabriel, it's on Las Tunas by the Mission Road and Las Tunas. Check out Paris Baguette San Gabriel. Thank you for sponsoring the treats for us and our guest. Well, that brings us to our guest. Let me introduce him. His name is Soo Hoo, and he goes by OG Stevie Foodie on Instagram. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Russell, for having me.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. So you came to us, well, actually, you started engaging with our content. I was like, who's this guy who keeps, liking and commenting? And I was, I very much appreciate that whenever anybody engages with our content. But your name kept showing up, and I was like, oh, that's a interesting name. So why did you choose OG Stevie Foodie?
Well, I am kind of old, even though I don't look as old as I am. So I figure, hey, I've seen it all. I'm one of the OGs from the SGV that's seen how things have changed in Monterey Park, going across Garvey, up Atlantic and Garfield, just the growth of all the food eatery places. And basically, it was just something that rolled off the tongue real easily. And Stevie was something that I was called when I was a little kid by my neighbor. So just trying to figure out something that rhymed with foodie, because everybody said, oh, you're such a foodie. And I'm like, well, natural match right there.
I see. Yeah. Well, before we get into your food experience in the San Gabriel Valley, what's your connection to the SGV?
Well, I was born in LA, raised in the SGV, lived in Montebello, traveled to Monterey Park quite often because of family being there. And I live in San Gabriel, city of San Gabriel now for 20 years. So I have deep roots in the San Gabriel Valley and just really enjoy living here because it's convenient for everything.
Mm-hmm. And when we first talked, you said you went to Schur High School, and I was sort of trying to figure out your age, and we were talking, and I used the term like SJ and Buddha head, and you knew what that was, and I was like, did you know my brother Carrie? And you're like, oh, that sounds familiar. But in fact, you went to school with my brother.
Yes, I did. We were in history class. The name sounds so familiar. I was like, I know a lot of people. I just had to see a photo of him. Pulled out the yearbook, looked at him. I know him for sure. I mean, I totally 100% know him.
So it's Schur High School in Montebello, class of 1990.
Yes.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, so Carrie is my half brother, and I'm 5'10". My father's 5'10". Carrie is 6'4". So he was like unusual to see a Japanese person this tall. And I don't know where he gets those genes from.
I don't know either. I mean, even back then, he was towering over us, and we're always looking up to him all the time.
But what's SJ and Buddha head?
SJ is like super Japanese, but it's abbreviated, right? Buddha head is the SJ, but like the generation before. So like the whole culture of being Japanese American in that area of that time, like if you embodied all that, then that was what you were called.
And so who was an SJ? Were you SJ?
Probably, yeah.
All the Japanese that hung around together, that cruised around, and basically it was a lot of car culture, hanging out, DJing, clubs, things of that sort, music.
And Buddha head was the previous generation?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I said on this show many times, I drove a 86 Corolla. I had a Wink, mirror on my rear view mirror. I had two gun bears there. I had a Nikaika head, in the back. So those are all like SJ things.
Oh, yes.
Like all those little elements that you did to your car. I had the squash air freshener, so. Sorry, this is not about me. This is about you.
No. But it's very typical. I mean, everybody had that. That was part of that culture. I mean, this is pre-Fast and Furious.
Yes.
This is what inspired all of that, and basically a lot of other subsequent Asian-style cultural type of movies, down to Brother Sun, which was locally filmed here. All those places I've eaten at that was filmed. I mean, I've been to all of those and said, hey, I know where that is.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet, and I want to see it, but I've heard that all those restaurants now are like getting popular or more popular because of the show.
Oh, yeah. I'm very, very certain. And actually, all those places are actually very, very good.
Like what places are those?
I haven't seen so.
One of them is a dim sum place that's upstairs, Golden Soup or Golden Spoon. I always confuse the name, but that's pretty good. The other place is a hot pot place on Valley. It's a Chinese name that eludes me right now. There's so many places I've eaten at that I mix up names and stuff, but it's a really good hot pot place. Very traditional, very spicy if you want to have spicy, where it's melt your face like David Chang says, oh my gosh, it's so hot. I don't feel anything because of the mala numbing agent.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Oh, you love that?
Oh,
you love that? You could eat like Sichuan hot pot?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
All the time.
Wow.
So you went to high school in Montebello.
Yes.
But you said you came over to Monterey Park often for food, or?
Oh yeah, for food, for shopping. My mom would, being that it's convenient that a lot of the Chinese stores start opening up in Monterey Park at the time. It really was very efficient and helpful to come to Monterey Park, because if you buy fresh chickens and things of that sort that are perishable, you don't want to be traveling a little bit. Like from Chinatown, we used to go to Chinatown and do our grocery shopping and stuff on weekends and visit family. So once everything bloomed in Monterey Park, we're like, don't need to travel that far. Hey, let's stay local and shop local.
So you came to us as a part of our effort to find a SGV related food person. And there's a lot of people doing food content out there. And I remember someone made a comment, and they're like, we want to just hear someone, a regular person, not these like influencers who are always trying to say, very positive things or don't really know the area. And so you sort of fit that mold for us, that you're actually from here. You go to these places, you frequent them, and not only that, but you know the history of a lot of them. So your area, I would say, is Monterey Park, maybe you said Garvey, Atlantic.
Monterey Park, Alhambra, San Gabriel, Montebello, where else? Geez, just generally, even up to Pasadena area.
Do you remember the bowling alley on Atlantic?
Bowling alley on Atlantic.
Where Ocean Star used to be, it's like down from there.
Oh my gosh.
That's a long time ago.
I don't recall that one.
And do you remember it used to be Hughes Market?
Yes, Hughes Market, which became, I believe, Ralph's.
Yeah. And catty corner to Hughes was, I think it was Hong Kong Supermarket at first. Do you remember that?
That was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Very long time ago.
Yeah, and that was like one of the only Asian Asian supermarkets in the area. And I remember it was like sort of that parking lot was like up on a little hill. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even before that, though, there was even one further south of that, which was one of the ones that I remember when I was a kid, Daiho Market.
Daiho.
It was actually across from what is no longer there, Andy's Billiards, which is Andy's Pool Hall. And across from that was Daiho Market. And that now, I believe, is like a Dollar Tree or a 99-cent store or something like that right now.
Oh, I remember Daiho. Yeah. Where exactly was that? I don't remember the Andy's Billiards.
It is actually where the waterfall fountain is park.
Okay,
it's on that same street, roughly about there.
Okay.
That's a cross street. I don't recall the street name.
Well, Steve, take us through some of the places that you used to frequent as a child in San Gabriel Valley. Some that may still be here, and some that maybe are gone now.
Well, some of them have moved on, but have moved into different locations. Like I remember the first Sam Woo that was on Chandler and Garvey. Of course, Mandarin Noodle House, Mandarin Deli, who Denny is actually a friend of mine. I've actually frequented their establishment in Chinatown when they first opened.
Oh, okay.
Way back. So I've supported them for a while. Let's see what else. I mean,
you mentioned a place that I remember, Yilo Deli.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember exactly where that was located?
It was in Atlantic Square, where the Old Music Plus, right next to the Old Music Plus was. And, well, currently right now, it is just a little north of where the Boston Market used to be.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Roughly about there on the east side.
That's going down to the, close to the 60 then.
Correct.
Okay. And what did Yilo Deli sell? I just remember that so clearly, but
it was one of those quick take Chinese places that are like kind of like Panda Express, where it wasn't as commercial. As
you would just pick from a variety of foods. Yeah. When did that disappear? Do you know?
Geez, when I think that disappeared had to have been like in the 80s ish, because that was the old brown building when it was all wood. And they demolished everything, remodeled it, and they didn't come back as a tenant, I believe.
Wow. Well, you must have been familiar with Scott's old office area where the old Edwards Theater in Monterey Park was, like tucked in the corner.
For sure. For sure. NBC still there. Yeah. Yes, that's a long staple. I remember when that was Edwards Theater. We used to go over there, and there was a hair place just around the corner. arcade was right there.
Yeah,
and
there was that arcade, I remember.
I used to go there all the time, Pirates Cove.
And a Thai restaurant.
Did you go to Pirates Cove when it actually still looked like a Pirates Cove?
Yes, when it had all the rocks and everything before they stripped everything out.
Yeah, and then they stripped it and it was just like stuff on the side and it was concrete in the middle?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I'm that old.
Yeah. So my dad would take me there and he would just sit there or stand there smoking his cigarette and playing pinball as he would give me quarters to go play. Yeah.
Just think, at that time, you were standing outside of my office, probably.
That is pretty wild. Yeah. Full circle.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I was right, 400 South Atlantic. There was a bank there, China Trust Bank.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and then Century Escrow was downstairs.
Mm-hmm. I actually remember that.
Yeah, and I was just in that building right next to Century.
Man.
Yeah.
Memory lane for sure.
Yeah. Boy.
And now there's so many more food options like along that corridor and especially like Hellman and Atlantic looks completely different.
Totally.
Hellman is where the new hotel is, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right along the 10 freeway, there's the hotel, and also Chef Tony's is on the bottom floor now. Mm-hmm. That whole area is developed, and Edwards Theater actually is now over there in that new plaza, I believe. And there's also a bunch of eatery places. Curry House, the last Curry House was right there, I believe. And they shuttered, unfortunately. That was really good.
That place experienced a lot of new development in the SGV. But if you go east on Garvey from Atlantic, that sort of has remained relatively same. Now there's new development there. I think it's like Chubby Cattle or something has come in, and there's this like new life, right?
Chubby Cattle actually is a branch off from Chubby Cattle Las Vegas. That's where they originated. I've actually experienced that place in Las Vegas. It's a little different, but it was really good. And I did a Yelp review on it, and I said, hey, you guys got to come to the SGV. There's not anything like you guys here. And lo and behold, took them. And that was a comment I made pre-pandemic. So it was probably like 2018, 2019 or something like that. And here we are, 2024. They have Chubby Cattle on Garvey. They have Makia on, which is a sister type of restaurant, Hot Pot, and on the corner of Las Tunas and Rosemead in the Teapot Plaza over there, Camellia.
Oh, that's
Camellia
right.
Square.
That's right. Yeah, it's like, is it more high end?
Oh, it's high end. It's definitely high end. Wagyu beef, Hot Pot. It's really, really good.
Is Green Zone still there?
Green Zone definitely still there. I like their Hainan chicken. Definitely go there for that.
So I want to sort of experience like how you saw these restaurants and changes in the SGV at that time. How far east did you go? Like experiencing restaurants, because there wasn't a whole bunch of restaurants on Valley at that time, right?
No, not very many. And even having anything that's close to Del Mar on Garvey, that was pretty strange. But that was up until the late 80s, early 90s. There were outspurts of restaurants around Garvey in that area, and same thing with Valley as well too, where all of the Hong Kong style cafes, definitely frequent those in college. I mean, they open
Are
late.
they still there? That was like JJ's.
ABC Cafe was the original one, Garfield and Garvey, and that's been there forever.
Yes,
on the northeast
and
corner.
that's still there.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
That used to be like gangster hangout.
Big time.
Yeah, like a lot of Asian gangsters hang out there.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's still the case. Is it?
I don't think it is. I mean, it was one of the original spots way back in the day. I mean, people respected it. You just kind of go in, did your thing to go grab a bite, and people were pretty chill. I mean, unless you're looking for trouble, in which we weren't. We were just kids. Just, hey, we just want food. It's cheap. It's great.
What are the names of some of those Hong Kong style restaurants on Valley?
Oh, Garden Cafe, OK Cafe.
Yeah, right.
U2, Bacali. Bacali's one of the original, one of the old ones with Garden. Hong Kong Cafe is one of the old ones as well too.
Bacali is so unusual. The menu. Have you been there?
I don't recognize the name.
Like my high school buddies were always want to go there because they would give you a lot of food for cheap, and like the chicken, they would get the chicken there or something. Yeah. And what would you describe their food as?
It's a mixture. It's definitely Hong Kong style food where it's east meets west. And I would say Hong Kong style food is more of the original fusion type of food because through Hong Kong, you would get a lot of influences from the British colonies. You get the Portuguese, you get the Russians as well too, where that's how you get the borscht and the borscht style soups.
Oh, that's right.
But the Chinese would put their spin on it. So it's really a fusion style of food where you could actually have like your chow mein with your like grilled chicken.
Piece of meat.
Yeah, with a piece of meat, whatever you want.
It would be, like a steak and spaghetti or something like that.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And but those are still popular locations?
Still are. There's expansion of a lot of these cafes. No longer are they just limited to Valley Boulevard, but even Arcadia, which is closer to where I live currently now, I would go to Arcadia rather than heading into Alhambra because most of those cafes are deep in the heart of the SGV of that portion in Alhambra. So it's a little bit of a trek.
Yeah.
What is the cafe that was like a standalone building on New Avenue and Valley across from where there was an old Plus 79?
Oh my gosh.
It's either JJ or JR or something like that. JR. That place, I used to go there, so it was open really late, like maybe like 3 p.m. And if you walked in there, I mean, every Chinese cafe was this, like everybody like turned and looked at you when you walked in.
Yes.
Right? But literally when you walked in there, everybody's smoking.
That was back in the day when they allowed it.
No. This is like...
That's right.
They were smoking after the ban. And they would put on the tables like a teacup with water so like you could put it out if someone came. But the whole place was smoking.
That's right. I forgot about that.
I was like, wow, this is pretty crazy.
Yes.
I'll bet you I could name an old Chinese restaurant that you wouldn't even know.
Which one?
And it's right next to where that was. Fuxing.
Oh,
Fuxing restaurant.
yes.
I don't remember.
I do remember.
Yeah.
I remember it.
It was
but
it was in the 80s. It burned down. I happened to know because it was my client. So I knew that family for they went and rebuilt in Pasadena.
Yes, on Foothill, right?
Or
Colorado. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the
Right by the
same. That's
Target.
the same family.
Oh, yeah. It was.
Oh
yes.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a big building that they
No,
have.
I don't know if it's still operated by that family.
I don't think they're there anymore in Colorado. I think after the pandemic, it was pretty rough on a lot of restaurants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Albert was looking to buy that building.
I remember.
It's like a two-story standalone building. It's like
Yes.
it's like a coral color.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coral pink. Yes.
Really unusual.
Yeah.
There's what's the Hainan chicken place in Alhambra?
Savoy?
Yeah, Savoy.
Right on the corner.
How did that get so popular? Like crazy popular. Do you remember when that happened? Because I remember it was always there.
Yeah.
And then just sort of like out of nowhere.
Oh, but there was also a Hainan chicken place in the mall where, at 400 South Atlantic. Do you remember that? There was a Thai restaurant and there was a Hainan chicken place.
Oh my gosh, I remember the Thai place.
Yeah.
We used to go there.
Because I just remember in the 90s when I was told just eat chicken and you'll lose weight. I would go every day and eat Hainan chicken at that restaurant.
Oh wow. Was it good?
Yes, I liked it. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Nothing like good poached Hainan chicken. It's really good.
Yeah.
But do you like Savoy?
Savoy's good. There's a lot of Hainan chicken places around besides Savoy now that give a good run for their money. Cluck to Go is another one. That's pretty good.
Until they stopped giving the pickled vegetables. They changed that.
Really?
Yeah, I hope they change it back. If you dine in, they don't give you the pickled vegetables. They give you broccoli.
Really?
Yeah. At least the one in Pasadena.
The one right by PCC, right?
That's right, yeah.
By Allen. Yeah, I just had it just a couple weeks
Dine in?
back. Yeah, I dined in.
Oh, maybe they changed it.
They
Maybe
may
they changed it. Yeah.
Or
But yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
I get the big thing of chicken, and now they look at me. Are you sure you want to have that? I'm like, hey, trust me, man. This guy looks small, but I could eat for 2 or 3.
So how is the chicken? made? I mean, what type of chicken is it?
It's
what kind of dish?
It's basically the yellow,
Like
yellow
Hainan
chicken,
poached chicken.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
so okay. Cluck to go is
another.
Hainan chicken. Then.
Yes, that's all they do.
Okay.
But Savoy is so unusual, right? Because they serve Hainan chicken. The
Yes.
menu is very limited, but they have like escargot or like pasta also.
Yes,
But it's this tiny little corner place.
you have to sit outside.
Yeah. Well, you can sit inside, but it's very very,
Very
small.
small.
Very small.
You'd be lucky to get a table. I'm never lucky.
Oh, you know where else I like the Hainan chicken is Green Zone.
Yes, Green Zone definitely is good.
Yeah.
Really, really succulent. Very tasty, flavorful.
And I like that they debone it for you. You know,
Yes.
that's like a plus. Their sauces are really good. Their rice and sauces
Is that
are really
still
good.
Jill and her husband that run it?
I'm not sure who the owners
Okay.
are, but I know that the food there is wonderful and it's organic.
Yeah.
Yeah, not many
you know,
places are-
and remember when it used to be here on Valley?
Yes. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, 10, 12,
Roughly
12
about-
years
yeah.
ago. Yeah.
Do you remember there used to be a Japanese restaurant on Atlantic with like sort of like this like facade like of like there was like
Rocks.
it was like
Kind of
bluish lettering and white.
Well, that was like between, say, between Garvey and the waterfall.
No. This is like going down, you know, probably between Garvey and Riggin.
Okay.
Oh, the other.
There's a few.
There was like maybe only two before, but
Yes.
when you walked in there, like, you know, it was there was no windows to the outside.
I remember there were 2 Japanese restaurants on the east side of Atlantic.
So this was on the east side.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was called, but I don't think it's there anymore.
No, I don't think so. I don't remember seeing anything blue. But I do remember, since we're on Japanese food, Alhambra, the only place that I remember way back in the day on Main was Yama.
Yama on Main.
Yes. It was a tiny, tiny little shoebox. It was west of Garfield on Main. And it was a small little Japanese place.
Really?
Yeah. Not to be confused with Yama Seafood that's blown up like huge on
Yeah.
Las Tunas in San Gabriel, which they do great sushi, sashimi as well too, the fresh fish.
Yama. I feel like I've been there before.
That was pre-Tokyo Lobby days, believe it or not.
Oh wow, Tokyo Lobby, yeah.
Yeah.
We ran a reel on there, and a lot of people were like, "Oh wow, we missed that place," and I guess they still exist somewhere.
Hacienda Heights off of Azusa, they're still there. That was their second location. And that is actually across the street from the Puente Hills Mall, which is famous for
The
Back to the
movie.
Future.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there's so many directions in food here. Do you remember there was a Pho 79 on New and Valley?
New and Valley, 79.
It's gone now. It's been gone
Yeah.
for. It was the same family though. No.
I vaguely remember Fuss 79, but I do remember the original Noodle World.
Oh my gosh. Well, then, do you remember Bob's Big Boy?
Yes. I remember eating at the Bob's Big Boy before.
So that was the same place, right?
Yes.
Wow.
That was not the original Noodle World. The original Noodle World was east of that, actually, just a few doors down, just one block down from Garden Cafe.
Was it really?
Yes. It's now a hot pot place. It's actually that hot pot place that is in Brother Son.
Wait. That was originally Jazz Cat, right? Jazz Cat was originally in that hot pot place on the corner.
It was even before Jazz Cat.
Before Jazz Cat. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was Noodle.
Noodle World. That was in the early 90s. It was early 90s.
Oh, wow. Noodle World. Well, first I remember going to Bob's Big Boy with my dad.
Yeah.
And we would sit at the booth in the window and like, you know, there was an actual, like not a statue, but there was a Bob's Big Boy, you know, figure outside.
Oh, yeah.
But then when it became Noodle World, that place was so popular.
It was slammed all the time. We would go there all sorts of hours. It was always great because prices were good and menu was huge.
Oh, yeah.
Massive.
What did you get there?
I do what I even do now, mint leaf chicken, which is
Oh.
really simple. I mean, I would do pho here and there. I mean, it's kind of funny. You go to a Thai place and they're serving pho. You're like, what? But it's pretty solid. I mean,
Yeah.
the food there, whatever they make, is really good.
I hope a lot of our non-Asian listeners are not tuned out because, we're all talking about mostly Asian restaurants. But I mean, this area of the San Gabriel Valley is predominantly those restaurants, right?
Well, I was going to ask you, your OG Stevie Foodie, is that, do you focus only on Asian foods?
Oh, no.
Anything.
Anything and everything. Growing up in Montebello, I mean, I had a lot of Mexican friends.
Okay.
So we would go eat all different places. JNS down the hill from Sure High School. Go Spartans.
This is iconic for that area.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody
yeah.
goes to JNS. Yeah.
Yes. That was the taquito place you would go to. It's on the other end of Garfield. I mean, it's south of, just literally on the other side, south of the 60 freeway. And you'd go there after games. People would be there. It's crazy.
It's like a place to hang out. Like there's just neon lights with bugs flying around, and there's no, maybe there's I don't know if there was seating, but it's just a small tiny booth.
Yes.
And you would get your taquitos, and there would be two in this little paper tray where you can't even see the taquito because it's covered in guacamole.
Yeah, the avocado green sauce.
Yeah.
What about Italian restaurants like Petrillo's? There's that kind of old family style restaurant.
Petrillo's was one of the places I discovered later on when I moved into the area up this way, and I did go to Petrillo's. Definitely like their pizza for sure. It's really, really good. Oh, it's traditional. The big old monster, big tray.
Yeah, it's a tray. Yeah. Right.
It's not a traditional round, but it's definitely a big stack.
What about places like old Pasadena?
Mi Piace for sure. Definitely hit that. I mean, that's classic staple. What else? Jeez.
Just all the other restaurants in old
there's
Pasadena.
So much. I mean, I currently I was going to Sahara for a little bit for your Middle Eastern Mediterranean. Yeah. Same thing with Zephyr as well. I would go there for a little bit and get some classic Armenian stuff. And my friends who are Armenian are like, oh my gosh, where did you get that? And I would be sharing that, and they're like, oh, I got to go down there. Pasadena is definitely a good melting pot place to explore good food from various regions.
Yeah, it's just there's just such a variety of various kinds. You can say old Pasadena, but then the valley, with the Asian restaurants is so much different than a high-end Pasadena,
It definitely is, but I mean, nowadays there's a lot of elevated Chinese as well too. Bistro Na is Michelin starred, or was, but their food is emperor style. What they would basically the emperor would eat. You would have like what I mentioned earlier, makia, which is Wagyu hot pot. That's pretty good. That's really solid. And you have within even that same Plaza Pekchong, which is Korean barbecue. That's solid as well. You could definitely get full off of that. A lot of Korean spots have popped up and opened up in the SGV, in the San Gabriel, Arcadia area, especially with H Mart opening up on Huntington Drive and just really having a food hall over there. Everybody's just really experiencing the diversity of not just Cantonese food anymore, which was, that's just Chinese food. But no, I mean, there's so many regions to China and Korea and Japan and just so much food.
If you have friends who are not from the area or like from out of town, what's the 3 places you take them to?
Oh, geez. Well, for sure, old staple. It's old habits die hard. Definitely go to Mandarin Noodle House for the hand-pulled noodles. I mean, there's nothing like that. The beef stew noodles. I would take them to, I mean, if they can eat a ton, Icon Sushi up in Pasadena, all you can eat, premium sushi, and just to fill up on it.
Hold on, you just piqued my interest. All you can eat sushi?
Yes, premium sushi.
Is it timed?
90 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And yes, I've hit the time.
Oh, how is that?
It's pretty solid. I went there before COVID, and they were called Aburi Sushi, which changed over to Icon. But Aburi now lives on down outside of SGV. They're in a different location now. But Icon is still there on, I believe it's Green Street. Yeah, Green Street.
All you can eat sushi. So this is the things that come to mind when I hear all you can eat sushi. Not great quality, or like if they give you nigiri, it's like mostly rice and the like fish is super thin, or a combination of these things, or the service is like super slow. So those are the things I think of when I think of all you can eat sushi. So are they any of those?
Well, the nigiri actually is pretty solid. They actually have a decent, healthy size slice of fish on there. The rice isn't like big or anything. They actually, it's kind of sad, but they use a machine to actually push out the rice.
Okay.
So they don't actually have to do it because they have to push out so much sushi because everybody there is usually ordering all you can eat, and they're not really into the a la carte. I mean, you can go there for a la carte menu, which can get pretty pricey after a while.
Oh, they're in like Asian buffet mode. They're like trying to get a profit.
Oh yeah.
Go there and get a profit. So you're saying that the fish there is actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, they actually serve sweet shrimp. They have your toro as well too. I mean, they have the scallops. They definitely have the premium pieces of sashimi and sushi for sure.
You can have all you can eat sashimi?
You can have sashimi, but not some of the premium where it's like the amaebi, the sweet shrimp. It's only like one round, and then after that you have to pay per piece if you want to continue.
What about like toro?
Toro, you would be doing similar, I believe. They used to be a little different. You have like 2 rounds or something like that. And there's different levels of the all you can eat. So that's the premium. You could have the lower, which has everything else.
Oh,
Still pretty good. I know. All you can eat Toro.
yeah, that would be my dream.
Oh yeah.
What cross street is that?
Oh geez. What is that? It shares a street.
Is it East Pasadena or?
It's right by the theater district right there.
Okay.
It's 2 blocks south of the Target.
Oh,
on Lake.
it's right near the radio station.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off. So
No.
you would take them to Mandarin Noodle House,
Yes.
Icon Sushi, and
Oh geez. Hey, quick and easy, open all night, King Taco.
oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just LA, it's an old staple. Okay, if I could have a fourth, people are going to fight me on this about French dip, Pasadena Sandwich Company.
Pasadena Sandwich Company.
Oh,
so
right.
I've seen that, but I've
Yeah.
never gone.
That's up right across from like what's that?
Bed Bath and Beyond.
Bed Bath Beyond,
Yeah,
that's
Bed
not,
Bath and-
yes.
Yeah, right.
It's right there on Foothill and Madre.
So what's good about that place?
Oh my gosh. All their sandwiches, you can't even stretch your mouth wide enough to bite down even a quarter way through. There's so much plowed high meats.
I've always wanted to go there.
so good.
I see there, but what hours is it open? Because I've never seen it open.
Yeah, it's only open for lunch during lunchtime hours.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. And I
Wow.
don't know if they're open on weekends or not, but they've been around for a while too.
I've heard that's good. Yeah.
Oh, it's super, super good.
Wow. Well, we just talk food this whole time. I mean, that's what we're going to do. But we ask each guest to bring an item of significance with them. What did you bring with you today?
Well, what I brought was something that is pretty precious to me. It's a reminder of my family, history and legacy of, this is a bowl that my great-grandfather and grandfather used
Wow.
in old Chinatown, before the current Chinatown is, where my family is actually one of the founding families that helped establish a new Chinatown. So
Really?
yes.
Is your family Taishan?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
we've been here for a little bit, so that's how I'm able to actually give historical.
Almost 200 years.
I would say about 100-ish year, a little bit more than 125, 150, because my grandfather was in old Chinatown with my great grandfather.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was Old Chinatown?
Old Chinatown was under, well, okay, Gold Line was on top of Old Chinatown. That's basically when they were excavating to create the Gold Line in Grand Central Station. They found a lot of the pottery and a lot of remnants of Old Chinatown when they did eminent domain. And
So this bowl was owned by your grandparents.
grandparents, great-grandfather.
Is it a rice bowl? Because it's larger than like a typical rice bowl, or is it just a bowl?
It's just a bowl. And there's nothing stamped on there that says made in China or anything like that. And I mean, it's
Well, there's a maker's mark. It looks like
Yes.
in the bottom there.
It's definitely, there's a maker's mark.
It looks hand thrown because I can see from this distance of like maybe 7 feet. It's not uniform.
No, not at all. It's very, very Ripley. And I have a pair.
Maybe hand painted the artwork.
Definitely hand painted. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Pre-1900s.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that in. I have a question now about what it's like growing up in the SGV from that perspective, but let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Sometimes, even the best of us can slip up. That's why the law offices of Scott Wormuth are here to pick you back up again.
And while they strive to get you the biggest compensation possible, oh my gosh!
Their main concern is your health and recovery. They work closely with doctors and insurance companies to make sure you get the proper medical treatment.
Initial consultations are free, so give them a call.
At the law offices of Scott Wormuth, we're with you all the way.
I'm Scott Wormuth. We've been fighting for your rights for more than 40 years.
All right, we're back with Steve. Steve, before the break, you shared your great-grandfather's bull with us, and what a treat to see that. Thank you for bringing that in. Before we move on with the show, we'd like to ask questions from this deck of cards called Icebreakers, and they're just to get to know you and us a little bit better. You can choose to answer it or not, and they're just should be lighthearted. So here we go.
Sure.
Steve, what's the wildest party you've ever been to?
Actually, most of my parties are pretty tame. I mean, yeah, I may have friends who are DJs and stuff, but somebody's got to be responsible.
Okay, so Steve is not a partier. You're not a partier, or your parties are just mild.
No, I mean, I'm usually, it's funny because I remember everything, even if I'm drinking, and I'm not that type that would pass out or anything like that, where I would not even remember a thing.
I've been to a lot of parties. I'll just leave those out. But one of the wildest things was experiencing Oktoberfest in München. And what I found wild about it, I shared about the beer, but like leaving it, it's people are running through the gate, and then there's this like security trying to stop them, and it's like this game almost, and your goal is to get by them with the 3-liter mugs, the glass mugs. And so you're running, and there's a whole like wave waiting to go, and then if they grab you, they just take the mug from you and they throw it on the ground, and because it's so dense and thick, they literally bounce into this pile of mugs. So,
wow.
So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get some, you know. I actually got 8. So I was like waiting for my chance for the guard to, you know, be occupied with someone else, and I ran through. He didn't grab me, so I came back, got some more. But yeah, it was so wild to see, like, this was the end of the night for everybody trying to steal beer mugs. Okay, so Scott,
I've never heard of that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm just your original, you know, I'm a boring person. I can't even think of a wild. I know I've been to some, but I can't even think. I can't think of a
that's how
single.
crazy it was. Scott was blacked out, no recollection of the party.
Yeah, I have been to wild parties, but boy, I just can't think of one.
Or for legal reasons, he's unable to disclose.
No, you know, I lived in New York City, so you know, I did take in some wild parties.
So for the listening audience, or if you're watching on YouTube, what's the wildest party you've ever been to? Let us know in the comments, and we'll be sure to share it. So Steve, I'm curious now that I'm learning this about you. Maybe you shared it with me before. You look 100% Asian, right?
Yes.
But you are American. Like you've been here for a long time. You may have even been here longer than a lot of people, but you will always look like an immigrant. Did you experience issues with that growing up?
Most definitely. I mean, being Asian in America, step outside of LA, you definitely know you are in a minority. Here in LA, everybody's really accepting and really understanding. But while growing up, being a minority amongst minority, growing up in East LA, and having a lot of Latino friends and just little kids. I mean, because you look different, you're going to be treated different. But as we grew up, we got to know each other, respected each other, and really appreciate each other's differences. And some of my best friends are Mexican, and we still keep in contact. And even though they moved thousands of miles away to different states and stuff, we're always calling each other up and stuff. And hey, what's going on? And just talking about different things and just laughing at how stupid we were back in the day. You know, it's just kids will be kids.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you speak any foreign languages?
Yes. Besides English. I speak Toisan, which is from my dad's side of the family, and also Cantonese from my mom's side of it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I'm not familiar with Toisan. What you seem to be familiar with?
Oh, yeah. Well, for instance, we have a client who was just here today who could only speak, I say Taishan. I know Toishan, but yeah, it's the group that came over to build the railroads.
Yes.
In the 1850s in the U.S. So they've been here longer than any other Chinese group or ethnic or
Asian.
Yeah. Asian. Yeah. So they've been here since the 1850s. So in our office, we have people who are from Taishan, directly. So that's their native language. And I just found out, it's funny, just today, someone who's worked for us for about 10, 12 years, I always thought of him as speaking Cantonese all the time, which he does. But at home, I didn't realize that. And I just found out today they only speak Toishan.
Wow.
His parents, his children, and him, they only speak Toishan. So, yeah, it's the original Chinatowns are all, I'm going to say Taishan people. Yeah, all throughout the whole U.S.
So is their food similar to Cantonese then?
It's similar in certain ways. There's spin-offs on home dishes for sure, and it's not like your typical types of food that are more elegant like in Cantonese. But Toisan food is pretty special and unique in its own way because of being up in the Delta. And it's deep in away from the coast, from like Hong Kong, where all the Cantonese people mainly are. It's more of preserved types of foods, where it's preserved vegetables. We had like dried fish and things of that sort, where it's reconstituted, and it's a lot of steamed dishes and a lot of vegetables. It's really, really healthy and pretty good. It's not spicy like other regions of Chinese cooking.
I've been to Taishan. Have you been?
I need to go back. I've never been. I need to go visit the family village.
Yeah. And you could actually speak the language.
Yes. Grandma wouldn't have it any other way. I would be in trouble.
Okay, well, as you walk out this corridor, you will run into 3 people who are Taishan.
Oh, really?
Yes. From, 2 of them from Taishan directly.
Very
and
cool.
one of them has been here for like 50 years, but yeah. And you could speak Taishan to them.
Does it sound similar to Cantonese?
The way I describe it to people is Cantonese with a twang almost. But Toisan people actually can understand Cantonese, but Cantonese people can't really understand Toisan.
Really?
There's a little bit of inflections that are different and tonalities where it's enough where it really it throws Cantonese speakers. They're like, what are you saying? What did you say? Can you say that again? And they're listening to it. It's kind of like some other dialects, some other Chinese dialects. There are similarities in certain words I could understand, but other than that, it's like the rest of it is I don't understand what you just said.
And are there distinct physical features where could you look at someone and say, oh, that person is Toishan?
A little bit, but not quite. It's getting very difficult because everybody's so westernized.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Well, Steve, we sort of traveled back in time through the SGV area of food that you remember. What are some of the more modern places that you have frequented or that you really like?
There's quite a bit. I mean, I've been really enjoying a lot of the different little, even bakeries, like Novice Bakery in San Gabriel, South San Gabriel.
Novice,
Navis. Oh my gosh. Their baked goods, the pastry, everybody wows about Porto's and how Porto's does great, like those fruit cheese rolls and stuff. I go, yeah, they're great. This place, you don't have the lines. They do more flavors, and they have coconut sprinkles on top if you like. And
Is it Cuban?
It's a Mexican bakery that actually does a solid justice to the Cuban pastry, believe it or not.
Where is it?
It's right on San Gabriel Boulevard, 3 blocks up from Petro Grande. It's on the west side. It's right.
Oh, so it's
right across from. Let's see.
down. That's down near that high school. What's the? Oh no, I'm thinking of the other way. Okay.
It's
near the 60 though, right?
Closer to the 60, but not quite there. It's
okay.
The closest main cross streets. It's in between Garvey and Patro Grande.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Oh, that's a lot of industrial there on the east side, right? A whole bunch of like automotive places.
Yes. There's actually tire store right on the corner that shares the block with them.
Oh, okay.
Just across the street from them.
And put us on some other new places that you've recently explored.
Oh, well, not so new. I mean, I love my Mexican food. I love ceviche, La Bufadora. They're the one that I used to go to in Lower Azusa and El Monte. I definitely love going there. Don't have the crazy lines like Taco Nazo or anything like that. Everybody raves about Taco Nazo and their fish tacos, but there's La Bufadora that does good fish tacos. Their ceviche is good, but also Macho Cafe on Mission in San Gabriel. They do a wicked good fish taco.
Macho Cafe
across the street from the Mission Car Wash.
Oh, okay.
Mission in San Gabriel right there.
Right.
Oh, I've always seen that place. I've never been in there.
Oh, it's good.
Really?
They've been there for a long while.
Yes, I've seen that for a long time, but I've never gone in there.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay. You're willing to explore these places just to, I mean, because
I'll go by myself. I go eating by myself. My family will not. I would actually go and test places out to see if I would think that my family would enjoy it, I'll bring them. But even if they wouldn't enjoy it, if I like it, I'll go back by myself. I mean, I go eating out quite frequently and checking out new places. Before I was a little kid, I didn't really care to eat. I wasn't so inquisitive, but now it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much to the world in culinary differences, and I really appreciate and enjoy each difference.
Yeah. Well, Steve, we're going to move on to the final segment of the show where we get to learn more about what you like in the San Gabriel Valley. So, Steve, this is what we call the SGV 3, and we ask you to share your 3 favorite or most memorable places or experiences in the San Gabriel Valley. So, Steve, what would be number 1?
Ooh, that's a toughie. Well, the memories that I have of the SGV, definitely going to Mandarin Noodle House when I was a little kid. I mean, that's like a staple for me. I mean, I've been going there, since I was a little kid. When Star Wars, I remember actually going to Edwards Theater, watching Star Wars, and going afterwards, go grab noodles with my sister.
Wow.
Who was much older than me. So that's a great memory that I have. That was probably, 78? Yeah, something like that.
I think that is about when they said they opened, when Denny said they opened, right? About 78, I think. Yeah.
That place is just iconic. Not only Monterey Park, but San Gabriel Valley.
Oh, yeah. You have a lot of people visiting. I mean, very famous people.
Yeah.
Another place would be, I mean, it's more of a new to SGV, but it brings a lot of nostalgia for me, is Neon Retro Arcade.
Oh, yes.
In Pasadena. I mean, being a child of the 70s and 80s, man, I grew up in the arcade playing video games, and I definitely have to give a shout out to those guys there. They do it justice. They do it right. They get the games playing very smoothly, very clean, very family oriented. I love bringing my family there, and it's a great place to hang out.
Well, thank you for saying that it's family oriented, because there is a arcade in like Little Tokyo or on 3rd Street or something, but it's like a bar, right? So I wouldn't bring my family there or my kids.
Yeah.
So I've always been interested in Neon Retro Arcade. So do they have all the old school like 80s video games?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I would go there and just hang out playing pinball, but then also I jump on Tron. And I mean, I play that for hours. And they have like the OG Mario Brothers. They have a lot of variety of different games from the 80s and 90s.
So do you get like the all day, or do you go for an hour? That's like my debate. All day.
All day.
Wow.
All day until my arms fall off.
All day there, huh?
Well, I mean, because the price is so, like, I'm like, do I want to stay for longer than an hour, or do I want to pay for the all day?
It's not much difference at that point.
And they have the nice old-fashioned pinball machines with the real flippers. And,
Yes, they do.
And you can shake them. You can kind of shake the machine, but don't tilt it.
Yes.
You know, that kind of thing.
Oh, they totally do. And I grew up, being that I grew up in Chinatown, they had a lot of those old school type of pinball machines. So that brings back a lot of nostalgia for me. So when I go to Neon Retro, I hit the pinball machines first. And I play that for an hour or two. And then afterwards, I just jump on some of the old video games, play some Street Fighter.
You shake them to get the ball into the right. Yeah. and you tilt it.
Yeah, they're not hearing me say this, right?
Do you remember the original Street Fighter? Street Fighter 1 with the pads?
Yes, the big pads.
Yeah.
They actually had that at the Tilt Arcade in the Montebello Town Center.
Really?
Yes. I remember Street Fighter back then.
So instead of buttons, you had to like elbow this like pad or hit it.
It's pressure sensitive.
Yeah.
Yes, pneumatic.
Oh, wow.
Well, speaking of pinball machines, so I gravitated towards pinball machines because my father liked them. And Pirates Cove, after they were separate, it was no longer like a cove, but just the arcade there. They had a Terminator 2 pinball machine. And I would go there with 1 quarter and we would crack it 4 times with 1 quarter, and then we would crack it 16 times, meaning like you hit the level where you could get free play.
Games, yes.
And it's that awesome sound that comes when it hits.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So 1 quarter could last us like hours.
I think they have that at the Neon Retro.
Do they really?
I think they brought one in, yes. And they had Adams. No, actually, they had it for a little bit. They had Star Wars. They actually got Addams Family, if you're into the Addams Family one.
I never played that, but at Pirates Cove, there was a pinball machine called Riverboat Riches.
Oh, my gosh.
Do you remember that? You would hit a thing, and it would ask you to choose a color, and it would say choose a color, and it was like roulette, so red, black, or green, and you had to choose a color, and then it would spin. Oh, I suddenly remember playing that. Oh my gosh! I just have a memory right now. Oh my gosh. Adrian, if you're listening to this, I still remember this. So we would play pinball for hours, and Adrian didn't play. He just sort of hung out with us, right? And the goal was to get your name like the highest on there, right? And you would talk shit to your friends and be like, there's my name.
Yeah.
I had already won the top score, and he was so bored and wanted to go that he pushed the start button, and it erased my score. And I'm still bitter, Adrian, if you're out there. And I was like, no. And I never got it back. I never could get it. It was so horrible. I'm still reliving it right now. Man, okay. So that was a second one, Neon Retro Arcade.
Yes.
And what's the third, Steve?
Oh my gosh. There's so much in the San Gabriel Valley that's so cool. There's a lot of good memories of going to Bob's Big Boy.
Okay.
Like what we were talking about earlier, but not the one that we were talking about in Valley, but the one down the hill in Montebello, actually. What became Caro's, which is now Baker Square, which is now whatever else it became. But that one was Bob's Big Boy long time ago. And I remember going to it, and my mom actually has a photo of me hugging Bob's Big Boy as a little kid.
Oh, wow.
So Bob's Big Boy really is kind of special to me.
Is that the one that is by the mall? The Caro's by the mall? Is that the one?
No, actually down the hill from Sure in Montebello.
Down the hill from Sure?
Yes.
How come I can't picture that?
It's right behind the gas station. That's right behind the Del Taco. That's actually still there, believe it or not. That Del Taco's been there for...
That's just south of this
60 freeway.
Yeah. There was an electronics store there.
Yes.
Circuit City.
It used to be Circuit City, which I have bad memories.
Oh, now I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Now I know that. Oh, it's right by the freeway. Like you can literally
What
like
is the
drive
name
off.
of that street?
Not Via Campo.
I think it is Via Campo.
Via Campo?
Yeah.
Pomona's on the other side of, north side of the freeway is Pomona.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, so many memories. Yeah. And then there was like a all you can eat buffet there on the
Oh yeah, on the far end that looks like a little western scene.
Buffet.
Hometown Buffet.
Oh no, yes, Hometown Buffet.
Yes.
Hometown Buffet actually shut down. Hometown Buffet was next to Lucky's, which became Albertsons, which is now Smart and Finals.
Yeah.
And that whole area has changed around quite a bit, but a buffet is still there.
Wow. Well, Steve, thank you so much for taking me down memory lane with all these places and restaurants. Well, tell the listener what it is that you do and your Instagram.
Well, I'm a graphic designer by trade. That's what I went to school for. I've developed a lot of things for my portfolio. I've done things for aerospace, done things for healthcare, worked on websites for large corporations, and currently working for a financial company right now doing graphics for them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And your Instagram handle one more time?
My Instagram handle is OG Stevie Foodie, OG_Stevie_Foodie.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show and spending this time with us and sharing your knowledge of the food scene in the San Gabriel Valley. Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, there you go. Another episode in the books. I hope you enjoyed that. It was really fun for me to think about these places that I haven't thought about in such a long time and remember how unique and special the San Gabriel Valley is, especially the food scene here. I know that if you listen to this show, or if you've ever visited the San Gabriel Valley, that the food scene is not something unique. Like everybody, when they refer to the San Gabriel Valley, that's one of the things that they definitely bring up. So I hope you'll share this episode with someone who wants to learn a little bit more about the food scene here. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing, and you can check out our full back catalog of episodes on our website, mysgv.net. Don't forget to check out our new shop. There was a hat behind Scott showing some of our merch, but if you want to check out more, there's a shop on the website. And until next week, we'll see you then.
Thank you for joining us on the My SGV podcast. Check out more of our content on our website, mysgv.net. This show was produced by Russell Mono and edited by Victoria Allers of Kind Monster Productions. If you'd like to join us next week as we capture and share more stories from our diverse community, feel welcome.
Nice mother. No, kind mother.